Hello, this is Lino Talos, and in this video I'm going to show you how to modify the built-in templates for Sitefinity for MVC widgets. There are different ways to do it. You can do it in the ResourcePackages folder as the file system. You can do it also in the MVC folder, and we will see later on in another video how to do it in the database itself. So let's go ahead and get started and show you how to do it in the resource package in this video. All right, first of all, I want to show you really quickly, there is a website here for Sitefinity. I'm going to click on content. We'll go to the news. You will notice I have 3 different press releases in here. It's not important what the content of them are, as long as we have just a list to be able to display this. So I'm going to go to my pages, and I'm going to open up one of the home pages, maybe an MVC based one. And on the right side, hopefully you can see the widget for the news all the way at the bottom there. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drop it right underneath my content block. I will automatically get the built-in default view for how this list needs to show. There is of course a list view like this one, and there is also the single item view, which is when you click on one of them, how it's going to be displaying itself. So the question is, where exactly is the file in Sitefinity that tells it that this needs to be this font size, font name, and the color, and how actually it puts the date and the by author and the summary and even the link that says full story, which is identical to the first link all the way at the top. So the title and the full story go to the same place. And what happens if I want to make any changes? I want to actually change the font or the name. I would like to remove the by author, or I would like to put the date right next to the title on the right side or the left side. All the things that people and definitely designer would like to do as well. So I'm going to actually minimize this for a little bit, and let's go open up Visual Studio, which will make it much easier to deal with this. And this is actually the file structure of my website right now. The one I want you to concentrate on is the one that says ResourcePackages, this guy, okay? So if I open it up, there will be maybe multiple different packages. I have Bootstrap 4 and 5. I'm not using 4 for anything. I can actually delete it if I want to. All my templates are in Bootstrap 5. If I open up Bootstrap 5 in here, there will be a lot of different folders. One for the assets. This is where all the distribution for the CSS and the JavaScript file will go, minified and all that great stuff. The one I'm really interested in is the one that says MVC there. If I open up MVC, there will be a lot of views. If I open up views, every single MVC widget in the system for Sitefinity will automatically have a folder in here, and they will be called with exactly the same name of the type inside of Sitefinity itself. So if I go down a little bit, you probably see the one that's called news, okay? And it has to be called news with a capital N with an S in the end. You cannot miss that, otherwise Sitefinity will not know what you're trying to do exactly. So this is very important for what we call the feather system inside of Sitefinity. So if I open up news, these are the 2 different views available for the news. The first one here at the bottom, if I start with that, list dot, that's an important piece. You cannot just call it news list or Lino list or hello list. It's not going to work. It has to start with the word list dot so that the feather system understands that you are creating a specific view for the news widget. And the detail one, of course, is when you click on only one single press release, for instance, and you want to see the full press release in a single view, this is the one that will actually hit. So if I open up the list one, let's double click on this guy. Notice all the code in here, this is the Razor syntax. There will be a mix of some code and also mostly HTML. So there is a div and a unnumbered list, and then the LIs in here will have a lot of information in it. So again, you don't have to be really a C# programmer to be able to be dangerous inside of here. But this is the one built into Sitefinity itself to display the list. So notice in the LI in here, I have an H3, and this is where the title of the press release will go. And then there is another div that will contain the publication date in a specific format. And then it will say HTML resource by, and that's an English word, or could be something in Italian or French or Spanish or whatever it is. That's why it's called resource. So you can go get it from a specific resource based on the language that you are trying to view this in. Of course, if I would like to hard code it to the word by, I want it to show by for every language, I can remove this resource in here. I can say the word raw, R-A-W, and that will not actually look for the translation for this by in any of your SX files in the system that you imported from Marketplace, for instance. And then we will have inside of the span in here, we'll have the author. So we'll say by, and then maybe in my case, I'm the author of all of them. We'll say by Lino Tadros. And then I can show the comment count if I want to. And then notice all the way at the bottom in here, there is a hyperlink that is pointing to full story. Again, full story is an English word. That's why it says here resource, in case somebody wants to see this in a different locale based on their windows. Again, French, Spanish, Italian, whatever you'd like as well. I'm going to actually show you a small change. If I click on the resource in here and we'll say raw with a capital R in here, and instead of saying full story, let's go ahead and say read more ... like most media companies will show. They always, like CNN and ESPN, they always show read more in here instead. Of course, I can actually change CSSs. I can actually go to the UL in here and I can actually put a space next to the class, and I can put Lino here. As long as I have a CSS class called Lino, for instance, that will actually be attributed to the UL. I can do the same thing with the LI. By default, they're using all the Bootstrap 5 built-in classes to do that. But again, remember, you can come and change all of that to actually show other fonts and colors and background colors and animation and whatever you'd like as well. Not only that, but you can come in here anywhere and you can actually have a paragraph or a div and put whatever you want. I can put an image in here if I want to and point it to an image that I have in a database or in a file system. So this is the place where you would like to make changes to the view for the list, as long as there is a list.newslist.cshtml. Do I recommend for you to make changes to this file? Probably not. I would leave it alone as list.newslist.cshtml, just in case in future version of Sitefinity, they will update this with new content or maybe adjust something or add a new feature. You might want to leave the one that comes from Sitefinity alone. So what I would do, I'll actually right click on it and I will say, copy this guy. And let's go ahead and paste it inside of the same folder. We'll say paste. Alrighty, and I just want to change the name. And remember, whatever you create as a new system or as a new view has to still start with the word list dot if it's for the list system. So I'm going to come in here and let's go ahead and call it Lino list. You can call it anything after the dot. So list dot is important. After that, it's up to you to call it whatever you want. And I'm going to push enter. This would be an identical file than the news list, but I'll make one change to it so I can show you that this is a different one. We'll put a div in here. And we'll say hello Lino, for instance. Okay, let's leave it at that. Oops, let me go ahead and put an exclamation point. All right, I'll save this, and I'd like to see if this actually ended up working or not. If I didn't add the new file, by the way, I don't have to recompile. Believe it or not, the Razor syntax would have kicked in and would have worked with no problem. Because I added a new file, that file will need to be compiled. But making changes to existing CS/HTML file does not require the compilation of the entire system like we're used to in Sitefinity for the CMS under the framework 4.8. All right, let's go ahead and save all that. And let's go back here a little bit and we'll open up the website one more time. And let's see what happens when I update this page, for instance, or we'll say, yes, reload this page. I didn't publish it or save it, so probably will disappear, which is okay. I'll just drop another one. We'll wait for it to compile that. We'll give it a second here. And there we go, it had to recompile the site because the project file found out that there is a new file that got added to the project. So that's why it had to do that. All right, there you go. It's the one showed up right away. Notice that my original view did take the change. It says read more ... It doesn't say full story anymore, which is great. But I would like to change that to use the Lino list instead of the built-in one. So let's click on edit again. And in the designer, in the middle tab called list settings, you will notice that the news list is still the one being chosen as the default template. But because we added it into the resource packages and under MVC views for the news, if I open up this, it should see automatically Lino list here right away. See, if I click on Lino list and I'll say save, it will be the same except the word hello Lino will show up in each and every single one after 3 seconds or so. And there it is, hello Lino, and hello Lino. So this gives you an idea. You can change the text, you can change the color, fonts, positioning and layout. You can do whatever you want in that CS/HTML file. It could be for the list or it could be in the details. So when you click on one of those, you would be able to change the view of that as well. Hopefully this was useful to you, and looking forward to see you in the next video from Lino TV. Thank you.